Hi guys, welcome to Office Blokes React. I am Office Bloke Dave.
I'm Office Bloke Daz.
Collectively we're two of the Office Blokes, aren't we?
Yep.
It is a factual statement.
Yeah, Mike's still in jail.
Yeah, Mike is in jail. He's not got his sentencing yet. I think he's due for sentencing later, isn't he?
I went down to try and bail him and getting nowhere. Once you've stole a police car, you can't. It's just too serious.
It's fair. It's fair. And £1.50 bail as well is just as well too expensive for Mike, isn't it?
I ain't paying that.
Yeah, Mike only represents 50p of the £1.50 of the Office Blokes. And even that's generous. So
I won't pay any money to bail him out. No matter how much it is. If he said you can have him for free, I'll be like, nah, surely there's some money you need. Of somebody.
Free? You mean £1 million? No, I can't afford that, sorry.
Yeah.
So there you go. That's what's happened to Mike. He's been arrested again. Got within 100 metres of a school. And, you know,
in a stolen police car.
Escalated from there, didn't it? Right, Army veteran steals tank and destroys San Diego. If this is quite an old one, I'd like old world's most amazing videos and things like that.
Yeah,
it was.
I think I've seen it
going down the freeway, just like mowing cars and stuff.
The lampposts and all that. Yeah. I think I remember this.
There's been a few instances of similar things like this. Like a guy armored a bulldozer, and it became like bulletproof. He had these big concrete things around it, and he went on a rampage. And there's been a few people that like do similar things.
Yeah, when I read that, I thought it was something different, and I thought, bit weird, bit of an odd one. This, but then I do remember a tank being loose on the road somewhere, maybe
20 years ago.
Yeah, possibly.
Like that. We'll find out. Is this, what channel is this? Popo Medic.
Yeah,
right. Army veteran steals tank and destroys San Diego. Let's do it.
Wednesday, May 17th, 1995.
Yeah.
An Army veteran, down on his luck.
Just after I got married. I was married May 13th. It's unlucky, you see, down on his luck. It must be that month.
Yep.
People get down on luck. You lined this up anyway.
Did I?
I thought, yeah.
Did I?
Yeah.
And at odds with the world.
Maybe I just wanted to watch it.
Entered a San Diego National Guard armory, stealing a 100,000-pound patent tank, taking the city of San Diego hostage during a televised rampage. And after desperately running out of options, authorities requested the assistance from the United States Marine Corps, requesting a Cobra attack helicopter to respond and take out the tank. But not before a Marine turned police officer seized the moment, bringing a 9mm to a tank fight. For 23 hellish minutes, San Diego was on lockdown.
Bringing a 9mm to a tank fight. It's such a cool
In
vibe.
1995, San Diego was arguably in its prime. The economy was booming, the Padres were decent, and while the city was considered family-friendly, crime in San Diego peaked in the mid-90s. And with a population of 2.6 million, the San Diego Police Department were severely overwhelmed. From gang violence, to homicides, to petty shit like, oh my god, it's too sunny, not sunny enough. But with that volume of crime came an increased level of training and experience. The San Diego Police Department was a highly capable force, ready for anything except a tank. However, San Diego was and still is a military town, and a lot of the members of the San Diego Police Department were military veterans who decided to settle down in the area after serving, many of whom understood armored warfare. But few understood it like Sean Nelson, a Utah man who would later relocate with his family to San Diego. And after high school, Nelson enlisted in the U.S. Army, where he attended armor school at Fort Knox, Kentucky, where he learned and mastered his craft as an armor crewman in 1978. And after completing his training, Nelson was deployed to West Germany with his tank battalion. He would get out of the Army only 2 years later. But while serving, Nelson received multiple disciplinary actions, but nonetheless was honorably discharged in 1980. He returned to San Diego in pursuit of the American dream. He started his own plumbing business, married a woman with an equally successful career, and together they had it made. Nelson was quickly building a respectable reputation as a friendly plumber, and was famously known within his community as the plumber with the work van bearing personalized plates, can fix. He took thousands of jobs, always quoted fair prices, and business was good. But the seemingly happy family man would soon descend through a chapter of misfortune in 1988, beginning with the passing of his mother. Overwhelmed with grief, Nelson became extremely erratic. So erratic that his wife hopelessly filed for divorce in 1990, causing Nelson to become even more erratic. And to make matters worse, shortly after his divorce, a motorcycle accident would leave Nelson with serious spinal injuries.
Run of bad luck, possibly, but I mean, everyone hopefully will outlive their parents.
That's the plan, isn't it?
Yeah. You know,
not everyone does, but that's the plan.
Yeah. So you got to kind of mentally be prepared a little bit for one day. If all goes to plan, you will outlive your parents.
Yeah.
So I think your mum dying while you're a grown man that's married, sad as it is, you know, and it's an awful thing to happen to anyone.
Yeah. Depends where your headspace is at.
Yeah. Is it?
I mean, I've gone through that.
Yeah.
And it's you know, it's tough, but at the same time, I mean, it was very unexpected with me as well.
Yeah.
You know, very young, sort of thing. Not me. My mum was very young.
Yeah.
So it's kind of like, you know, it comes a bit of a shock, and it does mess with you a little bit. But at the same time, you realise that we're all going to die in the end.
Yeah. Life goes on.
Life goes on.
It's got to go on. Yeah. What I'm kind of alluding to is that there may have been pre-existing issues, and I think they talked about his disciplinaries in the military as well. That might have just been the straw that broke the camel's back, sort of thing.
Lifetime of chronic pain, and this erratic behavior was only worsened. While being treated at Sharp Memorial Hospital, Nelson tried to walk out and was physically stopped by hospital security. And after being discharged, Nelson would file a lawsuit for $1.6 million in damages, citing negligence, assault, battery, and false imprisonment at the hands of Sharp Memorial Hospital. A Superior Court judge would later dismiss the case, and the hospital countersued Nelson for $6,000, dealing Nelson yet another blow to his already declining well-being. And to make matters even worse, his father's death would occur only 2 years later in 1992, causing his life to spiral out of control, and he turned heavily to drugs and alcohol. The feelings of hopelessness, desperation, coupled with a vague opinion that pain and misfortune predominate the world, the blue-collar optimist became a pessimist. By 1995, Nelson would become a shell of his former self after his tools were stolen out of his work van, the tools required to perform his plumbing duties. And with no money and no tools to fulfill his jobs, Nelson was shit out of luck. His utilities were shut off, his mailbox began to overflow with collection letters, and his live-in girlfriend at the time moved out and left him. He was now facing reality as the bank began proceedings to foreclose his home. Addiction began taking over, and Nelson began seriously using hard drugs. During odd evening hours, Nelson would dig in his backyard, reportedly digging a hole as deep as 20 feet, and telling his friends that he was mere inches from finding gold and possibly oil in his backyard. He began obsessing over his so-called mine shaft, with delusions that finding these natural resources would be his financial salvation. Nelson took this mine shaft so seriously, he filed a notice informing the county of San Diego of his plans to mine his backyard. When city engineers rejected Nelson's plans, Nelson became manic, and through his suffering and his drug abuse, Nelson developed a nihilistic worldview, a dangerous combination for a man without a family.
He's fully lost all grasp of reality, hasn't he?
Yeah.
It's sad to see someone sort of downward decline like that.
Yeah, he seems to be on a journey to good things with when he set up a business, got married, you know, and all that kind of stuff. And then he just had, like you say, he had a run of bad luck, and it's but you know, I don't know. I mean, I can't talk about people with the headspace the way he's, you know, the way he's in and all that. I'm not trained for anything like that. But at the same time, taking a tank isn't the fucking answer, is it?
No,
no.
It's the end game, isn't it? That's like I'll show them sort of thing. It's your final move. But you kind of I watched a fair bit of true crime and things like that, and you see people's current or final state where they commit the acts that got them infamous in the first place. This background and the build-up, and it makes you realise, you know, a family man lost everything, then his tools get nicked, and it's like the movie Falling Down. Yeah. You know, where it's just like one thing after another until he fully just snaps, and then that's it.
Yeah, and it happens in everyone's life where some things push you to a limit. You know, that limit might just be just going, shut the F up.
Yeah.
To somebody, or the next limit might be taking a tank and charging down the highway.
During this time, while showing a neighbor his mine shaft, Nelson stated that Oklahoma was good stuff, in reference to the Oklahoma City bombing perpetrated by Timothy McVeigh, which occurred the month prior on April 19th of that year, an attack which left 168 people dead.
A massive car bomb exploded outside of a large federal building in downtown Oklahoma.
The neighbor was unsure if Nelson was condoning the attack or commenting on the drama the event caused over the last several weeks. But it's obvious Nelson took some form of inspiration. Whether it be in the shape of mass destruction or self-destruction, he devised his plan only 1 month following the Oklahoma bombing. He picked his location, a National Guard armory in the area of Kearny Mesa, and a time of 5 p.m., the height of rush hour traffic. And on Wednesday, May 17th, in the seemingly utopian city of San Diego, Nelson drove his van to the National Guard armory. Although the gate to the vehicle yard was typically locked after 5 p.m., employees at the armory were working late and left the gate wide open. Nelson drove straight in. Guardsmen stared at the van bearing the license plate "Can Fix," and only assumed Nelson was supposed to be there, as he looked the part of some sort of repairman, until he climbed down the hatch of a 57-ton M60 Patton tank and fired it up.
I'm glad he said fired it up. For a minute there, I was like, it's armed as well. Just like shooting.
Yeah, but it's we were saying it the other day in a video that you get let in anyway if you've got a high-vis vest on and a ladder.
Yeah.
Or a clipboard.
You look like you're meant to be there. People don't want to seem stupid by not knowing you're supposed to be there.
Exactly.
Yeah. Military base should be a little bit of a different story though, shouldn't it? Where you've got armories.
Yeah, a guy came in not long ago. Was you here when he came in? And I said, "Can I help you?" And he went, No, I know what I'm doing. I went, "Well, obviously you don't."
Yeah.
And he went, "I come here all the time." I went, "You don't." And I said, "Just wait there a minute." And I got Mike to see if Mike recognised him.
Yeah.
And he was doing something with Mike.
Yeah.
And Mike would come down. He went, "I don't know who he is." And I went, and he went, "Oh fuck, I'm in the wrong building." And then what? And he was legit.
Yeah.
But he just walked into the wrong building.
Yeah. It's madness, isn't it? That was the last we saw of Mike.
Exactly.
I saw you singing in a photograph, but I never learned your name. Then it wasn't long I fell in love and hoped you'd feel the same. So you told me, "Come on over, sing a sweet refrain." And the world was turning slower, I can't explain.
With a top speed of 30 miles per hour, Nelson's 100,000-pound tank plowed through dozens of unattended parked cars, even coming within feet of knocking down one resident's house.
And I always will do right by you.
You ran up over a cyclone fence about a foot from a house.
I'm never gonna let you down. And darling, you should know.
It became evident to police through his technical maneuvering that whoever was operating the tank was a trained professional. Given the threat posed and the inability to stop the threat, San Diego police notified the Marine Corps. Officials at Camp Pendleton suggested a Cobra attack helicopter, and the bird was prepped for takeoff. Nelson made his way northbound on Convoy Street before heading west onto Balboa Avenue. He entered the 805 freeway, heading southbound toward the 163 split. And while on the 805, he attempted to knock down a pedestrian bridge. And after multiple failed attempts, he eventually gave up. He made his way onto the 163 near the exit of Genesee when he made a sudden abrupt turn toward oncoming southbound traffic, putting the lives of hundreds of innocent civilians in jeopardy. But while crushing through the center median, he disabled the left track and hung the body of the tank atop the rubble. Realizing how close he was to crushing oncoming vehicles, officers surrounded him and began scrambling with ideas on how to stop him. San Diego police officer Paul Paxton, a gunnery sergeant at the time with the Marine Corps Reserve, leaped onto the hull of the tank and opened the hatch. He called down to Nelson and ordered him to surrender. Nelson looked up, ignored Officer Paxton, and continued lurching the tank back and forth in an attempt to free. 3 other officers rushed in to assist Officer Paxton, including this guy right here who looks like Chunk from the Goonies. The officers ordered Nelson to surrender, but Nelson continued to ignore them and continued throttling the tank. Police were left with no other options, as the risk of him freeing the tank and mowing down oncoming traffic was far too dangerous. Officer Paxton fired his weapon 1 time, striking Nelson in the shoulder. Nelson collapsed, and officers rushed in to secure the scene.
It's madness, isn't it?
Yeah.
Nelson was ironically transported to Sharp Memorial Hospital, where he later succumbed to his wound. And on May 18th, at approximately 2:30 a.m., the tank was removed from the freeway. Miraculously, nobody else was hurt during this incident. The story shocked not only San Diego residents, but the nation alike, and debate soon followed as to whether or not police were justified in using lethal force.
The question is there something else they could have done?
One of the officers who ended up jumping on top of that tank to stop the chase. This cop operated a tank during Desert Storm.
I know people look at it as a vehicle or a tank. That was a moving weapon. That was the biggest weapon on the loose in the city of San Diego yesterday.
Why wouldn't they mace him? Why wouldn't they do anything? They shot the guy and left with no answers.
There's one thing that goes unmentioned with this story. Given the facts and circumstances, his discontent for Sharp Memorial Hospital, and his history there as a patient, the fact that his tank stalled near Genesee on the 163 may not be a coincidence. From my experience working on an ambulance in San Diego a long time ago, Genesee is the 163 exit to Sharp Memorial. The hospital property is less than a few hundred yards from the exit, and his tank stalled fronting the hospital. It's not impossible to imagine that's where Sean Nelson was headed.
It's pretty, seems like it, doesn't it?
Yeah.
His brother believes it was justified.
Not that randomer in the street.
Yeah, who was borrowing the grief.
Yeah.
You know, that's probably nothing to do with it. That's
if that tank had made it onto the other side of the freeway,
there'd be dead people.
Exactly. And what would she be saying then?
It seems like he had plenty of opportunity to kill people. I know obviously it wasn't armed, but I'm guessing he could have run more people over. He could have run. He was driving down streets with cars coming the other way. He was trying to
dislodge a bridge.
I think he's trying to cause as much destruction as possible on his way to destroy the hospital.
Yeah.
Which obviously destroying the hospital would inevitably hurt a lot of people as well. Yeah. But it seems like his motive was...
They had to kill him.
Yeah,
they had to shoot him.
I agree. I don't think his motive was to kill pedestrians and randomers.
Driving the tank down the motorway, mate. Might not be his number one aim, but you know what? Just by default, that's what you're doing.
I agree that they shot him and they ended it because the alternative is he gets it free and then the helicopter's going to have to shoot a missile at him or something and blow it up. So I get it. I completely agree. I'm just thinking he would have had loads of opportunity to do indiscriminate killing if that's what he was actually trying to do. Yeah,
but by default, with him driving that tank on the motorway, by default, he's trying to kill people.
Yeah, well, it's no different to going like 120 miles an hour in a supercar, is it? Yeah. It's like people aren't going to expect that, and you know yes, it's very dangerous.
Oncoming.
Yeah. Yeah.
All the time I've seen. Well, I've only ever seen it maybe once on the news or whatever. Yeah. Didn't know it was San Diego. It was new to me, that San Diego.
I never really considered it.
No, same. I didn't know.
Just remember all that footage on programs. Like I said, World's Most Amazing Videos and things like that. I used to love programs like that.
Yeah, interesting, all right.
Crazy. Yeah. Just absolutely crazy.
Yeah, I hope you guys enjoyed it. Don't forget, like and subscribe, please, and we'll catch you on the next one.
Cheers, guys.
Cheers.